Hello and welcome to the Stampwheel 2.0 video hop. My name is Aditi and I am going to be sharing a project that I've created using this Stampwheel 2.0 version. So here is a look at the Stampwheel itself. It's similar to the previous Stampwheel, but there is a slight difference. The right side is detachable. Basically, that's removable. It comes with etched ruler marks right there, so it's easy for measurements and just to see the size of your cardstock and all of that. And the fact that it's removable means that a normal 8.5-inch sheet, a cardstock, can be placed on the stamp wheel without any issue. The flip plate clicks in position very well on the four grooves, regardless of that side being removed. Now the flip plate comes with the center plus mark, the radial lines, the circles, and all of this just makes it very easy to create beautiful wreaths and other repetitive patterns using this bigger version of the stamp wheel. The base, as the previous one, is high-grade photopolymer sticky matte, and that means that my sheet is going to be stuck to one spot and I don't have to really worry about it moving when I'm stamping. So for this video today, I'm going to be playing with the Builder Garden Branching Roses stamp set, which has this long, big stamp. And now with this bigger platform, it's going to be so easy for me to stamp that image without any hassle, go back in 2 or 3 times to make sure I have a crisp, clean image. Now for a big image like this, my trick is to place the die face down and place the stamp over the die to make sure that it is aligned well, and this just helps me make sure that I'm die cutting the stamped image properly without anything being off centered or going out of the die line and having that extra white space. So once I have that aligned, I'm going to place my flip plate and pick up the stamp. And once I've lifted the stamp on the flip plate, I can then remove the die and set that aside. And I will use obsidian ink to stamp a nice crisp black outline. So just applying the ink at the back of my stamp, I am then going to flip the plate and nicely press to get a clean, crisp image. I will definitely go back in a second time just to make sure that I have a nice bold outline, and that is what I particularly love about the stamp wheel. I can go back in 2 or 3 times without the hassle of my paper having shifted or my stamp having shifted. Everything just aligns back in the same position, and it makes it easy for me to make sure I've got a crisp, bold outline of my stamped image. Now this also helps when I want to multiply stamp the same image, so I can rotate the plate and stamp it on the other end of the cardstock without any hassle. Now continuing on, I have my sheet aligned right there on the stamp wheel itself, and I am going to use the coordinated stencils to start coloring in this image. I'm playing with the Carnival Magic and the Mediterranean Glow Fresh inks that were recently released to create these soft pink roses with the olive leaves. I'm just following the layering guide and the stencils to add color in. So first with the base, I'm going in with the lightest pink, and I'm using mini blending brushes to add the colors today. And I absolutely love how my stencil just adheres to the sticky mat right there, and my paper is in place, and I don't have to keep changing the alignment or keep worrying about the stencil slipping off. So the stamp wheel is not only a great tool for stamping, but even for stenciling, because you can use the sticky mat and hold things down in place. So you can see I also have my ink pad right there in place, and I don't have to constantly keep using my other hand, and I can just lift ink, add that through the stencil, and everything is in place for a nice beautiful look at the end. So I most often use the sticky mat for even holding my die cut pieces when I'm ink blending or watercoloring them. And it can be removed from the stamp wheel itself, from the platform, and you can just use it as it is. Plus the sticky mat comes in a variety of sizes, and you can just purchase that individually. Moving forward, of course, we will have more accessories, particularly for the stamp wheel 2.0. And until then, enjoy the stamp platform as is. So moving ahead, I am going in with the second ink color, adding details, the third ink color, bringing in that depth, and you can see how my flowers are already looking alive. Once that's done, I am moving forward to color the foliage and the leaves. So adding the green, beginning with the lightest green, I am going to quickly ink blend and add color onto my image right there, just the way you've been seeing me do for the flowers. Meanwhile, here's a reminder, like I mentioned, this is a video hop, so definitely hop along, visit each designer's video, because you will really see a lot of ideas using the Stampwheel 2.0 and how a basic tool like this can be used in several ways. I am simply showing you the basic features of stamping, stenciling, holding everything in place, and using the larger space, but I am always inspired by what other designers create in their videos and the beautiful ideas that they share. So do hop along, and that also gives you a chance to enter the fabulous giveaway. Now moving ahead on my project, I have die cut the floral cluster and I have a piece of brown cardstock right here. It's an odd shape, a slightly bigger cardstock than a slimline card, and I chose that from the Espresso Crafty Necessities cardstock. And I am just adding my anti-static powder because I want to heat emboss with this wood grain texture from a walk in the woods, and I am going to do a tone on tone embossing. Now by that I mean I'm going to stamp the image with clear embossing ink and just apply clear embossing powder, and when I heat set that, what that does is it just becomes a darker tone of the cardstock, so I get like a darker brown variant on this brown cardstock. I absolutely love this technique for quick and easy backgrounds. I have chosen this size, like I was mentioning before, simply because it fits, it's a good background for my entire floral image. I didn't want to cut it, and the fact that the Stampwheel 2.0 has this larger working surface, I am able to create my background pattern on such a large sized paper, and I don't have to worry. I can do the stamping effortlessly and just shift my stamp and stamp on the remaining portion and get a beautiful background. So this helps, and you can see I have placed my stamp wheel inverted simply because I have that open end right there, and it's easy for me to have my stamp overhang a bit just to stamp on that remaining portion. So you can just rotate your platform and use it the way you like. That's the coolest thing about this. Now, as I've heat set, you can see what I was talking about. I have that darker brown embossed texture, and I get a nice wood grain background for this card. So I have a card base right there, and I'm just holding that in place on my sticky mat, and I'm going to adhere my card mat, the brown card mat, using my tape runner. And it's just easy because my card is in place and I can quickly align and adhere my card mat to the base. Once that's done, I am going to use instant dimension foam tape and adhere the floral cluster, and I'm using the same cardstock to stamp my sentiments in the same way by embossing it with clear embossing powder, so I get a tone on tone look for the sentiment, just tying it in with my background. I am using the coordinated dies to die cut the bigger sentiment, and I am just cutting the other sentiment as a strip using my sentiment dies. I will link all the products in the description box below in case you want their particular names. And I am again using some foam tape with liquid adhesive to uproot the sentiments, just giving them more dimension and making sure they're in the level of my stamped floral cluster. So with that done, I am moving forward to adding some white acrylic ink splatters. The white splatters just ties everything together, and I think it just adds another level of texture and contrast that I need for this card. To embellish it, I am using the coffee break enamel dots. These were recently released with my Altenew Perfect Picker, and it comes with two ends, the wax tip and this pointed tip, and that helps me just lift off my enamel dots from the sheet and adhere them in place. I like to put these in threes, creating little triangles. And since this is a slimline card with my floral cluster, creating a sense of movement upwards, I am adding these in clusters all the way till the top. Again, playing with that sense of movement and flow of the floral cluster throughout my card. With that, my card is complete, and I really hope this inspires you, gives you some ideas. Here is a closer look at all that texture, detail, gloss, color, shading, and dimension. And I really hope this also inspires you to try the Stampwheel 2.0. I always am happy to answer any questions you may have. And until the next time, take care and bye bye.